Welcome to this special episode where I explain subscriber contracts with me, MrSealyp. So, subscriber contracts, what are they and how do they work? I thought I'm doing another job, so I thought this can be happening while I'm kind of explaining. Subscriber contracts, a little bit of a backstory to this. I started off on FS17 on Golden Days of Farming map by Something on My Shoe 2, and it was Barris who started this all off, messaged me and said just out the blue that he'd taken on a contract to provide, I can't remember what crop it was now, and that he couldn't fulfill the contract, and could he subcontract some of it out to me so I would then provide him with it so then he could fulfill his contract. And it was a way of adding a little bit of immersion into my Let's Play. He was doing it on his, and I think a lot of people do. If you don't start doing something interesting or different, it can get a bit stale, sometimes a bit stagnant, and sometimes you can get a bit bored of playing. So if you give yourself a reason to do something, even if you're just playing a narrative, a storyline in your head, that's kind of how it works. So that's where it was kind of all born out of. I don't do subscriber contracts on every Let's Play because they can get quite unwieldy, difficult to manage, and they can get a little bit complicated. I'll make no bones about it. I think the complication comes with people not quite understanding how they work and what they actually entail. So a subscriber contract is basically a way of getting my subscribers involved in what I'm doing, and they in turn then feel, I know a lot of people will run a Let's Play of their own while I'm doing mine, and they will kind of include what I'm doing into their Let's Play. It's a kind of symbiotic relationship, and I like that idea. I think it's really, really clever. Not that, like I say, I didn't come up with it, Barris did, but I think it's brilliant, and I like that interaction with my subscribers. So, as we already know, in-game, if we scroll across, we have got standard in-game contracts, and this is the big difference between an in-game contract and subscriber contracts. The in-game contracts are for one particular job. For example, like it says up there, harvesting, it could be cultivating, it could be ploughing, it could be sowing, fertilizing. Each one of those contracts is a very simple, specific task that pays a certain amount. It might be with the harvesting you've then got to deliver as well, but that's kind of part of that contract. Subscriber contracts are different because they may involve multiple steps. For example, what's going to come up on the screen in a second is from Down Under Farmer. Check out Down Under Farmer's channel, by the way, from Australia. And it says, Down Under Farmer from Australia is requesting 120,000 litres of wood chips to help keep my town's fires burning over the winter, and 120,000 litres of cotton, did I say tons? Litres of cotton for wool for winter clothing. I'm willing to pay 1.8 on current rates as winter is competing in quick? Might be coming in quick, and it's getting cold. Now, it's just simple, easy to follow, not too complicated at all. Is it achievable? Absolutely. Now the thing about that is, what I then do is the narrative builds, because that's not a simple case of a cultivating job, a fertilising job, a harvesting job. That's a case of preparing a field, putting a crop in, harvesting the crop, delivering the crop. So whereas an in-game contract is quite short, succinct, one job, that contract seems simple enough when you first read it, but then when you take into account 120,000 litres of a particular crop might be quite difficult to do. Wood chips isn't too bad, in all honesty. Things like wood chips you can get away with larger quantities, cotton as well because you've got big bales, but that still would require a fair bit of land to do that. So you've got all those jobs entailed in doing that contract, and they've said they'll pay 1.8 on current rates. Now I think the thing to go with on this is that a subscriber contract, I do all the work in so much as there's no contract set down for me. I have to pick, unless the person specifies what field it's got to be on. Sometimes I get a contract saying that a person owns a field already, But again, that means I've then got to go in and I've got to buy that field off screen to put into the narrative that that person owns it, because I can't work on that land unless that land is owned. So it can get complicated, but I do all of that behind the scenes. Contracts need to be smart, and that comes from my day's teaching. Smart in so much as the contract needs to be specific, has to have a kind of set, it's obvious what I need to do. Measurable, well, that generally speaking is because of whatever they've asked for. It needs to be a certain amount of litres, or whatever it might be, a certain amount of logs, or or bales or whatever. It needs to be achievable. It needs to be something I can do in a fairly sensible time frame. It's no good if someone messages and says I need 2 million litres of wheat. That is it achievable? Yes, it is, but over such a long period of time, it would take so many fields. It's quite complicated to do. Realistic in so much as within the realms of the game, but sometimes on smart targets, realistic also comes in with relevant. Is it relevant to what I'm doing at the time? Is it relevant to the let's play? Does it follow the narrative of what I'm kind of already doing? It needs to have some impact on the storyline. My advice would be, if you are going to submit a subscriber contract onto one of my let's plays, you need to be watching the let's play. You can't just jump on and say, I'm going to ask for 4 million litres of cotton. Also, if I've already done, for example, if I've done a load of soybean contracts, for example, if your idea for a contract is to ask me for more soybean, is it likely that I'm going to think, actually, yeah, I'll do some more soybean now? Because people viewing are going to get bored of me just doing soybean all the time. So, is it realistic? Is it relevant? You've got to be looking at what's going to fit in with what's happening at the moment in the Let's Play. And then the last on there is time bound. It needs to have a kind of time limit as such. Generally speaking, I'll plant the crop will grow, I'll harvest the crop, I'll deliver the crop. The time limit is kind of already there in so much as within the bounds of the crop growing. Sometimes some people have given me contracts which have a time limit. They might say they need X amount of bales, but they need it within 48 hours, or they need it within so many days. I did have one contract which I didn't do because under the kind of achievable, the more complicated the contract, the more difficult it is to do, the harder it is for me to try and implement within everything else I'm doing. And it involved preparing TMR within 24 hours. That wasn't overly complicated, but it all had to be fresh. So you have to kind of think, does it fit in within all those parameters, So, how do I make it work? Because that's the other thing people often struggle to understand. These aren't set by giants. These aren't set, but these are set by my subscribers to me, and I make them work. Can you in-game transfer money to another player? On multiplayer, yes. If I'm doing a Let's Play, no. You can't sit at home and say, I'm going to send MrSealyp 100,000 in-game credits. That's not going to work. That can't happen. Likewise, can you send me produce or animals or machinery? No, you can't. That doesn't work. You can't do that cross. You can't gift people machinery. So I have to make that happen. What I'm going to show you now is how I do that, so you get a better understanding of how that works. If you don't want to know how the magic happens, you want to get involved with subscriber contracts, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go in a minute and put up a list of kind of things that you need to think about if you're going to put one into me. So bear with me just 1 second. This in front of me is the multi-filling station by Edge and Castiga Gaming, isn't it? Edge Gaming and Castiga, that's it. This is one of the ways that this works. Now, most people will give me a contract and they will ask me to provide them with something, and they will pay me in cash. Money is king, cash is king. Now, what people started doing when FS19 came out was offering to pay me in crops, in products, in milk, in sheep, I think that's a brilliant idea. I love that. And there are certain things that I can put into the game, no problem at all. This mod here made that even more doable. Because if somebody says to me, I can pay you in 100,000 litres of milk, well, up until FS19 I couldn't do that. There's no way I could put milk into the game. With these mods you can. So if somebody wants to pay me in a product, but it has to be a product that's available. It has to be a product that's available on console. It can't be a strange weird crop that you've either made up in your head or one that's available on PC, because I can't do that on console. It needs to be something I can put in. So you may decide you want, for example, 50,000 litres of wheat, and you're prepared to pay me in wood chips because you're running a forestry operation. I don't know, whatever it is you're doing. You might offer to pay me in wood chips. That's fine, because I may have a contract where somebody's saying I need X amount of wood chips. I can then go and do some wood chipping, add your wood chips to that, and I can, so the whole contract thing rolls around between various different people. So this is the first thing that really makes this work on FS19, because I can put things in. That really, really helps. The other thing that makes this work, and we had the strange green glowing things, the money box cheat on FS17. Well, on 19 we've got this. Now a lot of people are still watching the video that I put out a long time ago. A lot of people did at the time, about how to make unlimited amounts of money using the multiplayer system on FS19. You don't actually need to do that anymore. If you're not aware of this mod, go and look for it. The government subsidy mod. It doesn't cost you anything to place it. Set on normal setting, which I'm on, for every one of these you place, you get 100,000, whichever in-game currency you're using, per hour. So if I take one of these now, let's say I'm just going to place one there, 2, 3. I don't know why I'm putting 3, but you know, I'm putting 3 down. This is how you make the money work, the money side of a subscriber contract. Each one of those is worth 100,000 per hour. So when the time rolls over to 5 PM, I'll get an extra 300,000 will go into my bank account. So if somebody says to me they're going to pay me, and they're going to pay me 50 grand or 90 grand or 300,000, or they might say to me they're going to give me a field or a piece of machinery, the only way I can do that and still keep my money on my Let's Play looking the same is by using the government subsidy signs. So I put the money in, whatever they've said they're going to give me, whether it's a field, whether it's sheep, whether it's cows, whether, you know, whatever it might be, I then buy them using that money. And then this is where the next part comes in. I then have to get my bank balance back down to what it was, because obviously I can't show that I've had an increase in funds. I'm showing they've given me sheep or cows or, you know, whatever it might be, a vehicle. So that vehicle needs to appear because they've delivered it to me, going with the narrative of what's happening. But my bank balance needs to remain the same. So once I've bought whatever piece of equipment it is, I then have to get my bank balance back to normal. The way I do that is through leasing. So it's a combination of all three. I have to use that if I'm going to be doing produce, if I'm doing animals or machinery or field purchases, anything like that, I use the government subsidy mods. And then once I've bought everything I need to, and I need to get my balance back down to normal, I use the leasing system. So I go into here. If it needs to be a big chunk of money, generally speaking, I go to forage harvesters. The Crone Big X, if I click on that, to lease that is 26,367. So if I lease one, that takes 26,367 off my total. I could lease a second one, and I can chip away at whatever excess is left in my bank account to get it back down to where it needs to be. This probably still seems a little bit confusing, a little bit complicated. Now when I start getting closer to what my bank balance should be, the amount of money needs to alter, because it might be I'm down to, I need to get 2,000, 2,300, 1,500. I might need to take a small amount off of my total, my balance, to get it back to where it was. All you do then is just go to smaller machinery. You just pick something small, for example, I don't know, the Agrosem Combi Plough. To lease, that's 484. So you do combinations of leasing to get your bank balance back down to where it should be. It's a tricky one. What I can do is, if I show you very quickly, let's speed up time. So once we hit 5 o'clock, my bank balance will go up by 300,000. So it'll go to 4,520,000. This is my test map, by the way. That's why there's so much money in there. So you'll see in the corner it will go up to 4,520,000. Bang. Right, so let's say for example somebody has said to pay me they're going to give me a field. Let's say for example they said they're going to give me field 5. That costs 107,000. I didn't need to cheat in 300,000, but anyway. So what I'll do is off screen I'll buy that field because they've said that's what they're going to give me as payment. So that field's now mine. But problem is my bank balance is still showing 4,412,000. That's way more than it needed to be. I've got to get that bank balance back down again to where it was. Otherwise what happens is when you do the next episode of the Let's Play, people say, well hang on a minute, you've got 150 grand more than you had yesterday. Where's that come from? My bank balance needs to show what it did the day before. So then using leasing, I just chip away at that until I get back down to what my bank balance was in the first place. I hope that kind of makes sense. So that's the background to it. That's how, you know, that's how the magic happens in the background. Now, the government subsidy mods don't cost you anything to place. They're a very, very handy way of getting your money up, especially if you're doing a test map. I use them on Let's Plays simply to put in machinery. I never cheat money in to give myself money I haven't earned. That is literally to pay for, you know, if somebody says to me I'm going to pay you 50 cows, I need the money to buy those 50 cows to put them into the game. That's, you know, that's the only way it's going to work. That's why when the game first came out, FS19, I couldn't do subscriber contracts. I couldn't even do a test map because there was no way of getting money into the game on console. PC, you can just change the XML files. On console, you can't. So we needed something like this to even be able to do guide to videos, that kind of thing. So there we go. Right, so to get rid of those, just go into here, go to Garage, go along, remove it, and then remove it. So then I can continue the Let's Play without them in there, because if you forget they're there and it rolls over into the next hour, all of a sudden 300,000 appears in the bank account, and then you've got to spend a bit of time leasing equipment to get rid of that money. So yeah, so that's, in essence, that's the background behind it. So, actually to be fair it's almost done, but we'll try and get it done. So what do you need to do if you're going to submit a subscriber contract? Well, your contract needs to, you can put it to me either on Facebook Messenger, you can put it on a comment on the YouTube channel, on the Let's Play I'm doing, and when I say, whichever Let's Play I'm on and I say I'm doing subscriber contracts, don't just submit them at any time, because I'll only do it on the one I'm running them on. So you need to kind of pay attention to that. As I already said, you need to be watching the Let's Play, you need to be following along with what's happening, because it needs to be relevant to what I'm doing at that particular time. That's kind of the next thing it needs to be. So it needs to have a little bit of a backstory. Nothing massive, nothing over dramatic. It doesn't have to be a 450 page novel. Just a little bit of, the farm name maybe, if you've got a farmer name, the reason for the contract, why do you need it done? Some people just say I need 50,000 litres of wheat. Okay, I can do that, absolutely. But to add to the narrative, to make it more interesting as a kind of role play, Let's Play, who are you? Why do you need it? What's happened on your farm that you need 50,000 litres of wheat all of a sudden? That kind of thing. If there is a time frame, if you are adding a time frame, fair enough. But sometimes I can't get onto them straight away. So time frame I wouldn't necessarily add. Don't say to me I need it by Wednesday, because if I don't get to your contract in time, it makes it again kind of pointless. The contract needs to say what it is you want, how much of it you want, and what the payment will be. Now the payment shouldn't be something ridiculous. Don't say to me I need 40,000 litres of wheat and I'll pay you $1 million. That's just not going to happen. And if anything, I would come back and say, look, I'll just take whatever whatever I get for it at a sell point. If there's a specific sell point you want it sold at, you can specify that in your contract. This needs to go to X, Y, Z, whichever. If you want it delivered to a particular place, and you might say, can you deliver it to, there might be a place on the map that you want it left and you're going to come and collect it, or you might say you'll collect it from the farm. That's absolutely fine. That needs to be in the contract. I need to know, because I could make those things up, but then I don't want people to message and saying, That's not what I wanted. I want, you need to be specific about what it is you want. We've already kind of talked about the SMART targets. Specific, measurable, achievable. I've got to be able to do it. If it's so complicated and so long-winded, or if it's one of those ones where you're asking for 15 different crops in all different amounts and they've all got to be organic, and I can't, I don't mind doing organic crops, I don't mind doing contracts like that because I find it interesting, it adds a little something different. But if you're asking for so much stuff, what you've got to ask yourself is, am I realistically going to take on board your contract? So this is the next bit, and I'm going to be a little bit harsher, I think, on my Let's Play this time, because I try to do all of them, and I can't. I'll be honest with you, I can't, and I won't do all of the contracts. It's just not possible. If I'm doing a Let's Play and I get 1,000 contracts coming, for example, I can't do 1,000 contracts. I just cannot keep up with that kind of thing. I'll pick the ones that will fit the storyline I'm doing. I may adjust them slightly. If I'm going to adjust one, normally I would message you and say, look, is it okay to do this, this and this? There'll be a bit of a dialogue because I don't want to upset people. If I don't do your contract, I'm going to apologise now in advance. If I don't do your contract, there could be a whole host of reasons why. It's no slight on you, it's no disrespect to you, I'm not being rude to you. It may well be it just doesn't quite fit the storyline, the narrative I'm doing. It might be it's a little bit too complicated. It might be that, like I say, I might have already done 4 contracts of soybean and you've just asked me for another contract of soybean. So think about your contract. I like ones with a storyline. I like something that's a bit different. If you've been watching my Let's Play and think, oh, he hasn't done poplars, or he hasn't done wood chipping, or he hasn't done any, whatever it might be, if I'm on a map that's got new crop types, then potentially you could throw in, for example, it could be if I'm on a map where there's rye available. You might ask for rye, which I haven't done before. So think about what I haven't done already and try and come up with a contract maybe that fits around that. If you're asking for bales or loose straw, grass, hay, whatever it might be, that's fine, but don't ask for ridiculous amounts. I tried to do one on the previous, on Marwell Manor, and I was asked for 750 straw bales. And I tried, and that kind of continued all the way through the Let's Play, and that was a really difficult one to do. So think about it sort of sensibly. And please, 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 don't hassle me. I know that sounds a bit diva-ish, but like I said, I won't be able to do everyone's contract. I won't be able to do all of them. It's just not possible. When I did Marwell Manor, I had quite a few people messaging me saying, you've forgotten to do my contract, you haven't done my contract, why haven't you done my contract? I just might not get to it. In all honesty, I just might not get to it. Like I said, it's no slight on you, it's no disrespect, I'm not being rude, I'm not being arrogant, just sometimes I just won't have the time, like I say, it won't fit, that kind of thing. So I'm just putting that out there now, please, please, please. I'll do the ones that work and fit and, follow the Let's Play. If you do have any questions on this, please put them in the comments. If there's something you're not sure about, I know it's a complicated thing to do and to get your head around, especially how, all you've got to think about really is you don't have to worry about the intricacies of how it all works in the background. I do all of that. That's all done by me. The narrative, the storyline, putting money in, putting crop in, putting product in, whatever it is you've offered to pay me in, you don't have to transfer anything to me, because you can't transfer anything to me. Don't worry about how you're going to send me the money. I'll do all of that. That's not a problem at all. So what you need to be thinking now is, what kind of contract would you like? How would it work? What's your storyline going to be? I do like interesting ones. I do like nice ones. Get your thinking caps on. Like I say, it hasn't got to be an essay. It hasn't got to be a massive long, about who you are and why you're doing it, and but we'll see. I hope this is kind of explained. I know it's been a bit kind of long-winded and a bit chatty, but I needed to try and explain. Otherwise what happens is all the way through a Let's Play I will be constantly fielding questions about what a subscriber contract is and how it works. These are not done by giants, these are not part of the game, these are done by me. This is all, this is an interaction between me and my subscribers. And I want to keep that going. I like that interaction. So I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. If you want to put in a subscriber contract for the next Let's Play I do, then wait for the Let's Play, wait for me to say subscriber contracts, or I may even say on the first video, subscriber contracts open, something like that. Then please feel free, but between now and then have a think about it. Whatever you should choose to do, as always, thanks for watching.